It's Batman time! Hello, welcome to another figure review. Today we're going to have a look at the Kotobukiya Batman the Animated Series opening sequence version, and oh my god, just look at this. It's amazing. When I saw this statue, I immediately fell in love with it because there's so much nostalgia, so much of my childhood in this. So basically, as the title would suggest, this is the scene at the beginning where Batman stands on top of a building after he beat up some fox and lightning strikes, so you can just see him for a brief second. So let's see how well they did in figure form. So I want to mix this up a little bit and show you the base before I even get to the figure, because when the figure is on there, you will not be able to see the base anymore. So I want to have the wideness of the base with the building over here, so that goes up to like 14 centimeters. Let me show you that. It's like 14. Goes out a little bit, so maybe 14 and a half, 15 centimeters, which is gonna take up the space, and that also means we're going up to how many inches? 5.5, almost 6 again with the building, just so you know how much space it's gonna take up on your shelf. I think sometimes that's important. To me it is. And then with the back building also leans out a little bit. This one is the one that goes out the most. So I want to say we're going up to a little over 3 inches in depth, and that means 6, almost 6.5 again with the building. Almost 7 actually. But enough about that, let's have a look at the base itself, because there's quite some stuff I love. I also already put in the lightning, has a little bit of assembly required. And actually, let's have a look at the lightning. Nice see-through blue plastic, is brighter in some parts and a lot more blue in other parts, and you can tell as the light is radiating off of it, it's just like very shiny plastic, which will make a good effect if you even have some more lighting in the area where you're going to put this figure in, like your shelf or whatever. Then you have the buildings. Those are very simple. They are supposed to be simple, just in the blue on this side, and on the other side don't have any shading. This is the lightning reflecting off of it, in case you're wondering. Also has some more detail on the side over here. Now the one thing I kind of wonder about, this one is standing out. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. I don't want to push on it too much and break it off, so I guess I'll just leave it. You won't be seeing this anyway, but it is there. Then you have a very nice looking bat symbol in the middle, and I love the paint job on the buildings. It has like a brownish red, and you can definitely tell they put on some shading over there. Single lights in the building, in the windows, and yes, the bat symbol has a little bit of a greenish hue to it. I am a little bit colorblind though, so if you're not seeing any green, feel free to correct me. It just looks a little bit green to me. It has a nice bat symbol, the classic bat symbol. This is my favorite bat symbol, by the way. I think there actually is a little bit of shading on the tip of it, but that's enough of the base. Let's have a look at the main course. Now we can get to the good stuff, giving you the size real quick with the base, because you will not display him. Well, you can display him without the base, but he has the packs in his feet. It goes up to like almost 21 centimeters to the top of his bat ears, which means we have almost 8.5. My camera's angled weirdly, but yeah, almost, well, 8.4, more like it. So overall, look and detail of the figure. The first thing that I don't know, you guys tell me, or am I tripping balls, or is his face a little bit pudgy? I know he's supposed to have the giant jaw. Also, the base is not super stable. As you just noticed, I move it forward and it's just like... Anyway, I feel like the face is a little bit pudgy. Maybe the side of it, maybe they put a little bit too much detail in this. It really depends on the angle, I feel like. From like this side over here, it's just like his lips go out a little bit too much. I like the jaw, like really that sticks out. He has the real big hammer-like jaw. The eyes are very cleanly painted, rounded, and that's like a thing. I mean, I go back and forth between certain things about this figure. Animation always changes. In some scenes he will look different, in other scenes his eyes will look a lot sharper, but yes, the opening sequence did have a lot more rounded eyes. He has them sharp bat ears. One's going a tiny bit to this side, but not really an issue. This plastic, by the way, it is sturdy plastic, but I feel like the thinner parts, like the bat ears and also stuff of the cape over here, might tend to break off, so I would be super careful with it because it is plastic that is in no way or form bendable. And you got the bat symbol in the chest, very nicely painted, and the paint overall, it looks good. I don't really have a complaint. There's no bleeding going on and no big issues with it. It is a statue though, so it's different from like the regular figures I review. It doesn't have to worry about articulation, so I feel like you really got to crank it up with the paint job on these, otherwise, well, you're not offering much, right? So then you got the cape. It's wonderfully flowing. There's tons of detail in it, a lot of wrinkles, and the paint job goes between like some black and a little bit brighter black, and then it goes into blue also. It has different shades of blue and black going through it, which just gives it an awesome look. The one thing about the cape, which I do not really like so much, is the cape is a separate piece. What I mean by that is just they kind of slide it over, and you can tell he has a line that goes around his neck. Again, it is a small thing because you won't really see it, but why not just make the entire piece with the hat on it and then put it on the figure so you don't have these lines that's kind of annoying. Then you got tons of shading, light shading though in the muscle work, which is I'll add a nitpicking part, because the opening scene, he stands in the dark, lightning strikes, and everything around it is a lot darker. So I would have really loved if they would have added shading just like that to the figure, which they didn't. The belt is just yellow and doesn't have any shading, which makes it stand out a little bit weirdly. We have more shading on the gloves, just like a blue line. It is kind of random, just like one blue line over here, one blue line over there, and then another one that goes over the face. And now let's have a look at the bat ass. Yes, that one is actually very nicely shaded. I have no issue with that. Yeah, where the butt cheeks are, it gets a lot brighter into the blue, just like with the cape, and it looks good. It's a good butt. And then back to the front, to the crotch. Well, they didn't do extra detail on that area. Have a little bit of shading around the knees, not really that much more going on for the legs. And then you got the same thing for the boots, the treatment, where it's just kind of a little bit blue, bits and pieces over here, and on the feet itself, down to the lower part. And yeah, I mean, the overall package also, there's more shading actually of the cape. I haven't really paid that much attention to it. I mean, I've shown you the cape, so you did see it. But yeah, top part of it is light blue, and the rest of it goes into a lot more darker. It's a lot less detailed than in the back, which is kind of weird. So yeah, also, like I'm saying, wobbly, and I'm guessing that's because of the buildings. They are kind of weirdly connected. I mean, that there's a hole over here, and why? It's just weird. It's just like, yeah, it is. It's probably this building, because you can tell it is going out to the side because it's not properly in there. So that's the look of the figure. So since this is a statue, we don't have any articulation or accessories, so that's gonna bring me to the final thoughts already. What do I think about this figure? I have a lot of nostalgia for this. Obviously, I already mentioned that, so I gotta try to put this aside for a second. I still like this figure. It has sturdy plastic. I wish it could be a little bit more sturdier, or maybe soft-ish on the tips, on like the bat wings or the tips of the cape, because I have a bad feeling about that. Haha, bad. And the rest of the figure, it looks good. Anatomy-wise, is the same thing. Batman the Animated Series has wonky anatomy, and at first I looked at it and I was like, oh, his arms are too big and his torso is too wide. But again, animation, it changes from scene to scene, and really looking at the original opening sequence, I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty accurate, so I don't really have a complaint with that. And the other thing is, like, the only nitpicky part is that I really would have liked that they would have done the exact same shading that you have in the opening sequence, where it just gets a lot darker around his chest and whatnot. And I mean, the only legit complaint I got is the cape. They should have just molded the entire cape with the hat, wouldn't have the weird line, but still. Overall, I do recommend this figure because I think it's an amazing piece if you love Batman the Animated Series. This will be right up your alley. Me personally, I'm happy with it, so I can recommend it if I like it. And I think it's worth my money. It's worth your money. I mean, I told you everything. I showed you everything. Is it worth your money? I would still recommend it though. So that's gonna do it, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more favorite reviews, card game stuff, and whatever Batman wants. Like a hand in a cape molded together.